Good evening everyone and welcome to another Rombauer Hour. Here tonight in the Sierra Foothills. It's actually a very important day. It's actually 2 years to the day since we closed purchase of this property and opened the second Rombauer Tasting Room and have a new winery. My name is Richie Allen. I'm the Vice President of Viticulture and Winemaking. I have a few special guests with me tonight. I'm joined by a friend of mine and chef Micah Malcolm.
Hello, Chef Micah Malcolm, Taste Restaurant and Wine Bar here in Plymouth, California.
And I have a new guest, someone you've never seen before.
Hi, my name is Jake Hoyt. I'm a host for Rombauer, not just here at the Sierra Foothills Tasting Room, but also virtually. We have a little bit more intimate, privately hosted Rombauer hours that we offer, where we'll sit down, you'll get one-on-one time with the host. We'll talk about wine, food, and all things Rombauer.
So if you buy Rombauer wine at your retailer and you want to have a private virtual tasting, or you buy it from the winery, it doesn't matter where you get it, you can book one online with this young chap right here.
Definitely.
And then I have one of my usual suspects.
Yeah, I'm Michael Code. I'm the Associate Winemaker and Site Manager here at Sierra Foothills, and I'd be happy to sit down and have a glass of wine with you this evening.
Well, we have a great show in store for you. It's actually a fun night. We don't get to do these with food and wine very often. So now's the time, if you have a bottle of wine, it's time to pull a cork, pour a glass, and kick back and enjoy some wine with us four people. We're going to be tasting a bunch of wines that you know and love, but we also have something new which we'll introduce later, which some of you will have never seen before. We're going to be pairing all the wines tonight with wood oven pizzas, and that is why Micah is here. We're going to make a couple of different wood oven pizzas. All the recipes are available at rombauer.com, so if you want to make these pizzas for yourself afterwards, go to rombauer.com. But yeah, I guess we should have some pizza. Micah, what do you reckon?
Yeah, so we're going to do a couple of good things tonight. I'd like to start, before we get going, to say thank you very much for having me. It's been a pleasure working with you over the years, and now that we're here doing this and you're here stable after 2 years, we're excited to really be growing with you and doing the stuff like behind the cellar door next week, and then also this pizza thing today, so it's a lot of fun.
I'm glad you got the script right, because I just realized I skipped ahead and you're saving me. Thank you, I appreciate it.
Back.
So it's been 2 years up here. I know I've eaten and tasted a lot. How fun has it been for you this whole time up here? 11 years, Amador. What's it been like?
It's been great. I grew up in the Central Valley, moved up here 9-10 years ago in the Amador County area, and growing with the region has been a lot of fun. I work for a great company. Mark and Tracy Berkner is the owner of B&E Hospitality. We have Rest Hotel, which is down the street from Taste. 30 minutes away, we have the Volcano Union Pub and Inn, which got a 4-room bed and breakfast. And then we just launched a food truck this last year in the kind of pivot of COVID-19, doing those kind of transitional fun things that everybody's having a good time doing. So now that I'm here doing this, I've been the chef at Taste for 4 or 5 years now, kind of grown with the company. I get to do the fun wine pairings and taste delicious wine and create fun food to go with that delicious wine. So,
well, speaking of food and wine, let's head out to that wood oven pizza and let's see what we're going to make tonight with these pizza pairings.
All right, so we've already got our dough started here. We took about a day and a half to make this. We made what's called a biga.
So this is made in-house at Taste.
We made it in-house using 00 flour, extra gluten in that flour, and then we made a biga, so it means it's sat overnight for about 12 hours. To help give it an extra sour flavor, extra like that nice tang that you get when you're eating a beautiful pizza. So here we're doing our California roll pizza. I got the dough rolled out on our board with a little semolina flour, and I just put a little ginger leek cream on top. Yeah, it's not going to be good at all,
So I know we've got this wood oven here. What's so special about a wood oven for making pizza versus a regular oven?
Well, with wood, you're going to get the smoky characteristic that's going to come off the wood. Using hardwoods, oak, cherry, different woods along those lines is going to give a different flavor profile. So it's kind of fun even to like change your wood, apple. It's going to give a different flavor to your pizza, your smoked fish, whatever it is you're doing. Nothing wrong with a gas-fired stove.
It just doesn't taste as good.
Well, I wouldn't say just as good. It just tastes different. So
Okay.
it depends on the flavor profile you're working for. With this pizza, it's especially good because the oak in your Chardonnay, we have the oak in the oven here, smoking it. So it's kind of like the toasted barrel for the Chardonnay, adding an extra layer of flavor to pair with the Chard on the pizza.
Excellent. And how long roughly when you have a wood oven like this, it's obviously very, very hot, how long does it take to cook like a pizza base to perfection?
Well, right now we're sitting at about 650 degrees.
So that's pretty hot.
It's not going to take very long. I've been rotating it every 15 seconds, depending on the size of your pizza. This one's a little smaller. It's going to take about a minute in total to cook the dough all the way through. For this one, we chose to put all the toppings on afterwards. So we have like the beautiful ahi, fresh cucumber, and peppers.
I might steal the ahi and run away.
I should have kept that over here. I knew you would probably do that. But then I'm just rotating it every once in a while to kind of make sure that it cooks evenly in there. Yeah, so you can see in there it's nice and tight to the fire.
And how long does the dough take to rise? You said you made the dough yesterday. Didn't you refrigerate it?
Well, it took 12 hours to cook or to ferment.
Yep.
The fermentation process, and then I've took it and added a second batch of water to hydrate the dough a little bit more.
Yep.
And then I refrigerated that. Came back today, and then I rolled it into portioned it, rolled it into balls, and proofed it to get what we have here.
Excellent. Ooh,
So we have this
looks
gooey
good.
pizza here.
So this is our first pizza. This is going to be the California roll pizza.
Yeah. So
what have you got to put on top of it?
so we're going to start with some beautiful sushi grade ahi here. We've pre-sliced just moments ago, right off of a beautiful loin. And then we're going to take peppers.
That's just a red bell pepper.
This is a simple red bell pepper. Just gonna-
Capsicum for the Australians.
fresh English cucumber. We're going to give this a little Maldon sea salt to help bring out those flavor profile. And with the California roll, you're going to
always
see
have
all of
avocado.
these, a little avocado as well to finish it off. So we have the fresh avocado, a little salt on your avocado, and then some toasted nori to finish off the pizza.
So a little bit of seaweed.
Just a little bit. We
My
toasted it
daughter
prior.
would be happy. She loves seaweed.
And there we are, it's California roll pizza.
All right. Well, we've been sitting out here talking. I think we need to go inside and share it with our colleagues.
Perfect, and a glass of wine.
And a glass of wine. Let's do it.
Cheers.
Let's dive into our first wine. Favorite of ours, our 2019 Carnero Chardonnay. Now, in case you didn't know, our 2019 Chardonnay here actually got 91 points from Wine Spectator, which is pretty awesome. It also got the #1 Chardonnay in American restaurants for the past 3 years running. Now, this next one, Richie, you gotta be pretty proud of. It won the top 100 wines of the world.
It made the top 100
Made
list.
the top 100 for 5 times now.
Yep, and twice it's been 2 years running. It's one of a handful of wines you can count on one hand that has made the top 100 list 2 years in a row, twice.
That's pretty impressive. That's
Sorry.
pretty cool. That's why we love it so much.
But I mean, Micah, you've tried the wine. Can you walk us through the process of how you create a dish like this to pair with Rombauer Chardonnay?
Yeah, of course. But before we talk about it, let's taste it, shall we?
That would probably be pretty helpful.
Because I know that you are all eager to taste it.
Pretty hungry.
There we are.
Awesome.
So with this, so we have a gingered leek cream. So to start, what we do is when we build everything to pair exactly with the wine. So whenever we do wine tasting meals, wine lunches, wine dinners, these sorts of things, the thing we're doing with you behind the cellar door next week, we always start with the wine. And what we do is we grab herbs and spices and taste them individually with the wine. So with this, we started going and going and going, and we just happened to be having sushi for lunch. and realized that the California roll worked spectacularly with it. So we took a whole idea and kind of moved backwards. So Tracy Berkner, our sommelier and owner of the restaurant, and I were doing this together, and she's always there helping me, making sure that everything that I do is absolutely perfect. So
Doesn't let you off the hook.
that way I can say if it's not good, it wasn't all me. But here, so with this, we started with something more complete versus individual because we were having the sushi. So we have the ahi tuna sitting on top of the leek and ginger cream, which I think is going to kind of, the creaminess is going to work really well with the acidity.
The ginger's very subtle.
It's very subtle. We didn't want to overpower the wine. It's just going to kind of brighten it up. And then the English cucumber and red pepper kind of take the wine and continue it down as you're eating, because all the water in the cucumber kind of blends with it and carries down the palate. And then the toast, like I said, was saying outside, the toast on the actual bread itself is going to work with like the toast that's inside the Chardonnay. I hope that you agree.
It's interesting. Like I always love cucumber with white wine because it always brings out something in the wine you don't usually see. But there's something about that very, very subtle ginger. It's not something you see. It's so many dishes that people overdo the ginger, but this is very, very subtle. And there's something about the ginger that pairs really well with that barrel fermented character. What do you reckon, Michael?
Absolutely. I'm really impressed with that sauce. That sauce just, it really couples beautifully with the food. It couples beautifully with the wine, and I think it really helps accentuate that really nice, creamy, rich finish on the wine.
Thank you.
Well done.
Yeah, I think this is just an awesome pizza. You know, something a little out of the box, like you said. You know, a California roll pizza, but it just everything works on every level.
Something I've never had before.
Yeah, it's really fun. You know, we wanted the pizzas to be focused to the wine, but we also wanted them to be a little fun and different. I'm not sure if I've ever seen a California roll pizza somewhere before. So, you know, we're kind of going out of our comfort zone a little bit with ahi tuna on top of a pizza, but I think it's a fantastic pairing and absolutely delicious.
Okay, Micah, I'm a home budding chef, right? And I love making pizza, but I really got to know the secret to getting it to rising. How do you make great pizza like this?
Well, luckily, you know, as Richie stated, we have on your website, rombauer.com, we have the pizza dough on there, so you can make this at home, super easy. But what we use is what's called a 00 flour. It's a high protein flour, so you're gonna have a really nice crumb structure. So the pizza itself is gonna have that, when you open up a lovely loaf of bread and it kind of tears apart, it's kind of gooey inside.
You've kind of got a great example.
Is what you're going to end up with, because that high protein flour. And then we have water, which is key integral part of it, and yeast. So we use an active.
We don't know anything about yeast, do we?
This active yeast is pretty cool.
Yeah, so we use an active yeast, and we put it into water to start the fermentation process in the water, and then add that to the flour. And as we were saying outside, take about 12 hours to let that all ferment and come together. It literally doubles in size. One of the biggest things that I've found making pizza dough is we always put it in too small of a container, and then it bubbles out. So I made the dough for all of this, and I put it in an exponentially sized container because it will rise considerably. So that process is called a biga, so it's like your starting fermentation, and then you bring that dough out the next day after sitting out at room temperature, about 12 hours. You can do it in one day. I put it into a food processor, not a food processor, like a dough hook machine, and
just like roll it and knead it?
and knead it some more, and then we add a little more water. So essentially the only difference between focaccia, ciabatta, and all those other white doughs is just hydration of flour. So how much water you're putting in there.
Oh, really?
So that's water, yeast, salt, and flour make up almost every single base of white doughs. You know, you have whole wheats and stuff like that, but the hydration of the flour is how you end up with a different dough. So how much you hydrate it will give you a different crumb structure, leavening, all of that.
Wow.
Just to circle back to what you were saying, you have a problem with the container being too small and it coming out. We have the same problem in winemaking. The problem is that when we have the Sauv Blanc, the container is always too small.
Really? You mean the glass?
Yeah. The glass, the bottle, it's all kind of in the same camp.
I find the same happens with the Chardonnay.
When's the 9 liter of Sauv Blanc coming out?
we'll talk about that. That's a later conversation, Jake. I just want to go back to, you talked about pairing this particular pizza, which is a little unusual, and I got to say it's bloody fantastic, with the wine. And you talked about tasting different flavors. When you're pairing a wine to a dish, obviously you taste the wine.
Yeah.
We've already built the layers of flavor, so we go through each component, we taste, and we're trying to make this complete wine that has front, back, mid palate weight, builds on the back palate, builds on the front palate, has acid structure, and it all needs to be seamless in terms of its flavor profile. When you're building a dish like this, which has a lot of complex flavors, do you actually sit there and taste each individual component with the wine and go, yes, that will work?
Generally, yes. So that's kind of how we started with this one. With the other two pizzas that we have coming up, what we did is we actually taste each individual component and build a layer. And then sometimes it's kind of funny because something like chocolate will dry out a wine.
Especially a red wine.
Especially a red wine.
Yeah.
But if you add a fruit component, now that chocolate, depending on the wine you're choosing, with the fruit component can be round. So where the chocolate dries out in your mouth, where the wine with the chocolate dries out in your mouth, a fruit component might hit that spot and carry the wine and lengthen it through. So then all of a sudden you built a really beautiful pairing, but you started with something that was like really nice in the front palate and dry in the back. So taking those layers and building like you do with the wine is essentially what we do with the food.
And do you ever have a situation, like I know when we're blending sometimes, and this has happened a lot, we'll have say 6 great components where we're like, these are all awesome, we're going to blend these together as part of a blend, and we put them together and it just doesn't work. Does that sometimes happen when you're building a new dish with all these different flavors? You put all these flavors together and you go, it sucks.
Yeah, very much so, because you have competing flavors. So if you think that they're going to work together, sometimes they just don't.
Yeah, they just almost repel each other.
Once you take the multiple layers and individually, they're all really good, sometimes you got to pull one and decide that these two just don't work together.
I feel like that can happen with even just pairing wine and food, two things that
absolutely.
you think are going to just work so well. You try them together and it's just like, oh, this does not taste very good.
Yeah, I agree. That's why we do from the wine standpoint versus this is our food. Now here's a wine. When we do the wine lunches in this, we start with the wine and build to it.
That's a great way
because you can just be like, this is a wine, it's going to go with this, and then it conflicts.
Yeah, I've got before I've been in situations where I've sat down at a meal and we've had an amazing chef prepare it and he's paired our wines with it and he pairs something with the dish. I'm like, oh mate, that is not going to work. I know my wine, that's not going to work. But if they're a great chef, I'll try this. I'm like, you know what? I'm wrong. It absolutely works.
Well, that's why I made this dish at home for me and my wife, just because we tasted it.
What did she say when we were putting it together? Because it's a little unusual.
Well, when I was telling her, she was like, I don't know about this. This is a little weird. And that's why I take it home to her, because I trust her opinion and she'll tell me exactly when I'm not doing something right. So it turned out to be, it's absolutely lovely and worked really, really well.
Did you guys like it?
Absolutely.
I think it was pretty amazing.
Doesn't this say it all?
I've got a little bit of the crust left.
I got a little.
Well, I think we should move on to the next one. I'm pretty excited about this one because this next pairing, for those of you that don't know, since we've been open here at the Sierra Foothills, we've actually been making another wine, and it's something that's sort of been done in secret. It's something that you could only get it if you knew about it and you asked for it, and that is a Barbera. And so we're finally announcing tonight to the world that we've been making a Barbera. It's something that's been very quiet. We've been testing it out here. And Micah will tell us a bit about this Barbera we've been making.
All right, well, let's start from the beginning. Basically, Amador County or the Sierra Foothills has been known for 2 varieties. Obviously Zinfandel, but the other one is Barbera. Why it works here, we obviously have a lot of heat, and Barbera is a great variety. It's one of the top 3 varieties grown in Italy, and has a very similar type of climate to here in terms of a lot of heat, quite dry. They're a little bit cooler than here, which is ironic given right now it's freezing and raining.
Snowed on Monday.
Yeah, exactly. But if you look at all the temperatures and everything, we're a relatively similar climate, and you can see some of the wines out here in terms of Barbera are fantastic. And so what Rombauer, in terms of complementing the region, and we wanted to support the region. We thought it was only fitting that we did something from here that helps support the region and highlights the region's beauty. So one of the great things that we have, obviously we had the gold rush, and we had a whole bunch of Italian migrants come out, and they brought Barbera. So as much as it was a checkered history for Zinfandel, it was a checkered history for Barbera as well. So we do know that it came somewhere in the 19th and the 20th century, but where exactly, I don't know. You probably have to sit down with somebody like Tom Dillion or Dick Cooper, or one of those generational figureheads that have been here for 5 generations that know this history, know the region inside and out.
Sorry, keep going.
No, it's all good. So, you know, all that being said, we know that there's a great future for Barbera here. We have recently ripped out the estate vineyard, which if you come to the tasting room, you'll see is just here on the hill.
Actually directly behind us over here.
Right. And it's 20 acres. We're replanting it, and if you go out right now, you'll see they're getting ready to put the vines in, which will be in 2 months' time, roughly, 3?
June, July,
yeah.
depending on the greenhouse.
So yeah, we'll be putting in 5 acres of our own Barbera. What you're tasting, if you get on the opportunity to buy it, for our limited night only, the 2018 Barbera. That was from the estate vineyard out here, but we now obviously are having to replant it. So the 2019 is a little bit different. It's a little bit more focused on Dick Cooper.
Who is pretty much, I mean, Dick is pretty much the Barbera grower in Amador County.
Right.
I would say he produces
Most
the best Barbera in the county.
Yeah.
But Jake, you've been here at the tasting room working, and you've seen the customers come through. What is it about Barbera, and how has it been? What's its popularity like here in the tasting room, being a regional favorite?
Everybody loves it. I mean, that's the fun thing about Barbera. You know, if you're in Amador County, you're coming out, you're tasting a whole bunch of different Barberas, and you come to Rombauer and you're like, okay, I love Rombauer wines. You know, everything that I taste here is great. They have Barbera now. Like, what's going to happen? Obviously, you know, they're like, oh, I have high expectations, and it has a lot of popularity. I'll say that, and it's kind of a fun thing. We actually just keep it here at the Sierra Foothills Tasting Room, right? We don't actually.
You cannot get it in Napa.
Yeah, we don't share it with Napa, so we gotta keep.
So a little bit of friendly rivalry between the two tasting rooms when it comes to that particular wine, I think.
Exactly.
So out of 300 cases, how popular is it?
Oh well, we only have 10 cases left, so that says something about it, right?
And you don't open it all the time, right? It's only like that secret wine.
Yeah, it's something that we want to, you know, give it to people who know about Barbera, who know really the history of the area and want to try it. And, you know, now if you come out and visit the Sierra Foothills, ask us, but wait till the 2019 is out because we don't have any 2018.
Exactly. As the guy said, it is sold out, but there is 10 cases available. They're only available tonight. It's on our website. It'll be up tonight. It will be taken down tomorrow morning if there's any left. And we are doing 1 cent shipping, on 6 bottles or more. So if you order 6 more bottles, it'll be gone. So, but I guess the most important thing, honestly, while we're here tonight, is to talk about pizza with the wine. And this is Barbera. I always say
plate.
Barbera. we have new plates. So I always say that Barbera is, when we first started making it and we put the blend together, I'm like, this is one of my favorite wines to have with pizza. Sorry, I was just going to steal your pizza.
He'd cut us off early.
Now, that 2018 is so coveted and so hard to get, thank you, that it's not actually available for the winemakers, sad as it may seem. So we had to actually run over to our oak casks and barrels to get a sample of the 2019 to have tonight with the pizza. So we have these
So
little
you're really being a
bottles.
tease, a really big tease.
It is a big tease. I'm not gonna lie, the 18 is phenomenal. It is from the estate vineyard right behind us here. The 19 is from Dick Cooper, it's phenomenal as well. But that 18, we've spoken about this at nauseum on other live streams with the winemaking team about the quality of the 18 red wines. There's a purity of fruit and a depth of concentration in those 18s that I've never seen, probably, well, I've seen it before, but it's pretty rare. It's about once every 7 years. So that 18 is phenomenal, and there's only 10 cases left. But more importantly, instead of talking about the wine, must be good pizza because the chef is tucked into it. Micah, tell us about this particular pizza pairing that we have here.
Well, this is a really exciting one. You know, it's going to be a little different with the 19 because we did try to pair it more for the 18. So you might find a little nuanced difference. That's why this is my first time tasting the 19. So I'm really excited to see how it pairs with the 19 differently than the 18. But we call this one the Shenandoah. So we have the lovely, pretty good, huh?
It's not often I'm lost for words. I'm lost for words.
So we called this one the Shenandoah because we have this beautiful Barbera that you're really trying to highlight from the area. And we have this Italian varietal with Italian style pizza. We are using Manchego, which is a Spanish style cheese on here, so we couldn't call it the Italian. But the Shenandoah, just to kind of showcase that the fact that we have beautiful product coming and we're making something delicious to pair with it. So we have Bressola, which is an aged beef, aged and cured beef that's aged about 3 months. We have Sopressata on there, which is a lovely pork product, a tomato sauce done with just a touch of oregano, onion, and garlic in there. Not a lot of oregano. We didn't want it to overpower the wine, and it can really overpower quickly.
It's very subtle, like the ginger in the last dish.
Yeah, so we're using a fresh oregano on this one. And then we finish with a little bit of gremolata done with basil, parsley, and lemon zest sprinkled over the top to kind of brighten it up. So you have that herbaceous note and roasted fennel. So we bring out that flavor profile like black licorice can come out from the wine.
It's interesting because Barbera obviously has this like red fruit profile to it. It's very high in acid. Generally, Barbera, the fight with Barbera when you're making wine is how do you get that acid and fruit in balance. And so it's inherently high in acid. But with this dish, with the saltiness of the Bressola and that little herb component that balances off the savory components of the wine.
Same thing, layers of flavor. We're talking layers of flavor, lots of layers here, lots of depth from everything working together. Nothing is going to overpower anything. Everything is going to sing side by side. The wine, the pizza, it's a beautiful marriage.
It's interesting. Do you get the aniseed in the wine? The licorice comes through on the back palate, which I've never seen.
I wonder if that's the fennel bringing that out.
I'm sure, like it's this complementary reinforcement of both. Like,
it's a really cool. So for those who haven't had Barbera, what's the key difference between Barbera and Zin? The natural acidity, the natural acidity, the low tannin.
Yeah.
And we're not blackberry jam in terms of fruit profile. We're a bit more bright red fruits in there.
Definitely bright red fruits, definitely that acid. But for me, there's this savory component to Barbera, which you don't see in Zinfandel. Well, Zinfandel has spice, but Barbera has savoriness. And that with the saltiness and the Bressola, the meat.
You rocked it, mate.
You knocked it out of the park.
Sounds like you really like this one. I wish I heard this kind of conversation for the first one.
We're a glass in now. Wow.
Yeah.
That was fantastic. That was great pairing. But that Barbera, kind of like we mentioned, it's just for tonight. So if you do want to make this pizza at home, you want to try it later with a little pairing with that. Hop online, check out our website. Like we said, 6 bottles or more, complimentary shipping. So.
And that's any 6 bottles. So you could get 1 bottle of Barbera to try it, and 5 bottles of your favorite Rombauer wine if you're watching, and 1 cent shipping.
You're good to go.
Yeah,
that's a good time right there.
Excellent. Sounds like our next pairing's about to come down.
I was gonna say let's hop into some Zinfandel. Right? Let's do some classic Rombauer Zin and barbecue pork pizza.
I think you should tell us more about Zinfandel. How's it doing here in the tasting room, and what are you hearing?
Well, Zin is our fastest growing varietal by demand, and it's a personal favorite of mine. I mean, everybody who comes in, they know and they love the Rombauer Zin. They love that it's been coming from this area since 1990. I think that's something that really connects us to the area to begin with, and then you throw the Barbera in there, it's another level. But it's a fantastic wine, and Micah, tell us about it. What did the pizza you have? How did the wine inspire that one?
So with this one, while we were tasting the wine, like you said, there's a lot of spice in the wine. I had some pork belly sitting around, and pork belly is always something that I think can lend itself to becoming any flavor profile. It works with a multitude of different things. So what we did is we took the pork belly, we salted it, salt and peppered.
Thank you, sir.
You're very welcome.
I'll keep these one.
Salt and peppered the pork belly. and then we seared it. And then in that pan that we seared the pork belly, we created what's called fond. So a lot of chefs call it love. It's the bits in the pan that create an extra layer of flavor. Once the pork belly comes out, it's golden brown on all sides. You have that beautiful fond in the pan. We are then going to add onion and garlic and simmer that. And then we added Rombauer Zinfandel to it.
There we go.
So we're making a barbecue
I just added
sauce.
some Zinfandel to the countertop.
So we're actually making a barbecue sauce in this process with your Zinfandel, so that it's just meant to be together this way. So as the red wine reduces, we add ketchup to it, let that simmer, brown sugar and honey goes into that, and then we add the pork belly back, and then we add that, put all of that together in the oven at 200 degrees. I did it really low and slow. The recipe I did, you can do it much quicker, but I did it low and slow. I took, so 200 degrees till it's fork tender, falling off the bone, and then it goes into our cooler to sit overnight in those flavor profiles. So the pork belly is adding fat to the sauce, and then the sauce is adding flavor to the pork belly. So what we did with this one is, once the pork belly comes out, you have that Zin barbecue. That goes on the bottom of the pizza, goes into the oven with the pork belly and burrata cheese. So for the pairing with this Zinfandel, you're gonna have like some like those intense dark fruits, you know, especially from Amador County, but a nice acidity to it as well. Not as acidic as, say, Barbera, but it's gonna have that nice acidity where we have barbecue sauce as well as a lot of fat coming off the burrata to balance out everything with the pork belly as well. Finish that with a little bit of fresh thyme. So that's the spice we were talking, or the herb that we were talking about earlier, where we build layers. So that picked thyme over the top really, really, really works super well with this wine, and a touch of lemon zest to finish the whole thing off.
So do you have hard and fast rules? Do you say rich food, rich wine, tight acidic wine with a bit more salty saline food, you know, like your dried meats and stuff? Where does your mind go?
Well, I mean, when you taste a wine from a general area, you know, like there's people out there that can say this is from here, right? And they'll know the terroir of the wine. But for me, that's not something that I have. So when I taste the wine, like if you say like Zinfandel, I'm gonna say summer barbecue, you know, like that's what I'm gonna go for first. But I have to taste the wine, and I don't have the kind of like parameter of like, okay, it's a cab, we're gonna do steak, we're gonna do Syrah, we're gonna do lamb. I have to taste the wine and constantly be tasting through the wine.
See,
it's a horrible thing, I know, to have to do that.
Excuse to have lamb. I'm like, what does it go with? Lamb? It doesn't go. It's lamb.
Yeah, for sure.
Micah's trying the wine a little bit more to make sure the food is just.
Yeah, I want to make sure the pairings came out really good. That's why I'm tasting all the wine.
So when you were like, obviously, you know, you have the Zinfandel. This is probably the richest, most concentrated wine we make. It's based on old vine Zinfandel, about a third of the blend. It has that depth of flavor. How do you make sure that the wine doesn't overpower the dish?
Again, by tasting, going back and forth, talking with Tracy, having her taste it and being like, how do you feel about it? You know, for this one, when you brought the wines to us, I even went out to our service staff and was like, help me with this. Taste the wine.
It's a hard, like I would say it's one of the more challenging wines that we make to pair with a dish.
Yeah.
Because it is so concentrated in flavor, it's very hard to find a rich dish that stands up to the wine, because you never want to have a wine that overpowers the dish.
Well, with pork belly, like I was saying, it's one of those things where it soaks up the flavor profile. So the barbecue sauces, at Taste, we have a saying, sauce is boss.
Oh, you've met my wife.
Yeah. So sauce is boss, and that's really the catalyst. That's what brings everything together. You know, we add a little bit of herb, we add lemon zest, whatever it may be. Like for instance, we were talking, like I just mentioned, cab and filet. Cab and beef work really well together. But if you put some red wine demi-glace on that filet, now we're talking layers of flavor, depth, richness. That's going to really take it to the next level. The dish is going to be better, but so is the wine, because that sauce is boss. So in this dish, the pork belly is going to balance the acid. It's that fat. So the richness is that pork belly.
I have a question for you. So when it comes to opening a bottle of wine, sometimes it's a bit closed in and it's not really expressing itself. I'm having the same problem with
You need more pizza.
Thank you. Yeah, now we're talking.
I haven't even got to my slice of pizza yet, so I'm going to have a taste of this one with the wine, and we can talk some more.
Yeah, well, you're going to go back over there. Make sure you're... Yeah, there you are.
Jake will steal this.
Jake, you come
I'm
on, Jake.
So I'm a huge barbecue guy, and this is fantastic. Like just the barbecue sauce, the pork, it just nailed it just on its own as a pizza, but then with the wine too. I mean, if you're going to take a great food like this pizza and then put it next to some Rombauers in.
Holy shit.
Richie, no swearing on camera.
Wow.
I think
You're going to get a text from Nat.
My wife's about to text me and tell me off.
I think what Richie's saying is
Wow.
he'll sit on the couch with a bottle of the Zin.
I told you, you need to open up.
Like for me, honestly, like when, I do a lot of wine dinners around the country, and we have our traditional pairings. Like we love oysters with Sauvignon Blanc, we love lobster with Chardonnay, and Zin we always do with a really rich meat dish or a dessert. And there's really good pairings, and there's pairings which work, but they never knock it out of the park, right? Like braised short ribs, we've done that before on the show, and it's phenomenal. But there is something about, because this twice cooked pizza base, it's got that little bit of toasty smokiness to it.
Yeah.
It's got a little bit of herb and spice into it. It's got the sweetness from the boss sauce. And the burrata, with I'm seeing flavors in the Zinfandel I've never seen before.
Well, is it because it's cooked and it's help make the foundation of the sauce?
Well, so for this one, what we did was, thinking summer barbecue, instead of just taking the pizza dough straight into the oven and going that route, we decided to actually put it on a barbecue. We grilled it to give it extra layer of that toast char that we really wanted on the pizza. So summer barbecue for sure. This literally went on grill grates and was charred, and then we built the pizza and put it into the oven and then finished everything together, so everything melds together into one cohesive unit.
We're gonna have to do another one of these with you, Micah, because the audience is asking for dessert and wine episode.
Well, they have to come here for behind the cellar door.
Is his name Andrew Holloway?
Dessert's traditionally a pretty hard to pair with wine, so we'll put that little card in our pocket for later.
Yeah, for sure.
And we'll save it because we do make a couple of really special wines that we could pair with desserts, and that might require a couple of nights at Taste where we could close the bar and talk about desserts and try those wines.
As long as that portion of what you just mentioned didn't go on air, my wife says I can go.
I'm working, honey, I'm working.
And as long as I can be invited.
Yeah. So I'm just going to go back to this.
Yeah. I think I'd be very happy to come and do a dessert one and pair with your wines, and even come up with something that would be like the ahi pizza, different, off the wall, and fun,
Yeah.
So.
One of the questions that we've just got is obviously all of these are animal based. There's a lot of protein, meat proteins and cheese. Someone's asking about vegetarian pairings for pizza and what you would pair with these wines. And being the chef, I'm just going to palm that question straight to you.
So again, depending on the wine, for as far as subbing in new vegetarian style options, we do a lot of that at Taste as it is. Outside of COVID, we had a vegetarian, gluten-free, and vegan menu available all the time. We're working hopefully to get back to that.
Yeah, it was amazing.
As we continue on. But certain things like this heavily salty, like the last one, the Shenandoah, the salty Bresla, the salty Sopressata. I would maybe sub something along the lines of like Impossible Meat or even Beyond Meat to give it the same salty characteristic that you're looking for the pairing. As far as just substitutions, if you want to just sub something on the pizza, Trumpet Royale mushrooms, eggplant can be seasoned into like any flavor profile you're looking for, so you can sub that into the dish. Trumpet mushrooms are really meaty, textural mushroom, and they're larger, steaky looking, so you can roast that, put it on your pizza, and then add another layer of flavor. As far as particulars to pairings, I think for the Shenandoah, doing the Impossible Meat is a great transition because of you can add whatever you want to that Impossible Meat, and it's so similar. Not everybody's hip to if you're a vegetarian, you don't necessarily want the Impossible meat because maybe you don't like the flavor of meat. But doing more vegetables and again, mushrooms, trumpet mushrooms can be marinated, seasoned, dried, cured to have that kind of same flavor profile.
So I've had you guys have a mushroom dish. The mushroom cigars, which you're famous for.
Yeah.
How would those mushroom, that sort of, reduced mushroom with that sauce you put on it, would that work on a pizza?
Oh, for sure. So
like something like this, which is really rich with the barbecue sauce, could you substitute something like that?
Well, as far as like the barbecue sauce is concerned, that without putting in the pork belly, barbecue sauce is vegetarian.
Yeah.
So you could easily do that. But for the mushroom cigars, we do like a porcini sauce on there, a little truffle oil wrapped in phyllo, 3 types of mushrooms.
It is one of the best dishes I've ever had. Like,
I
order it
that.
every time I go there.
It's the only thing on the menu that's been there since day one. Everything
Really?
else is literally changed with the seasons, with what's coming in. That's the only thing that hasn't changed. I tempted to take it off the menu when I became the chef. That did not end well for my job. I'm still employed.
Well,
but
clearly you
yeah.
put it back on because it's still there.
But yeah, it's something that's never going to go away. But a mushroom pizza, porcini sauce is a fantastic flavor profile.
Michael, I don't think you enjoyed the pizza, mate.
Well, Jake stole some of it.
Had to help him out there.
Yeah, but there is something like, usually barbecue sauce, like I always find barbecue sauce can be overdone. Like honestly, like it just gets too sweet, too hot, but there's that is right up my alley.
Sounds like we have a great opportunity to look at food pairing for all the different zins we do.
Ooh, that could be another show. A pure Zinfandel show.
If I'm going to be here every week, gentlemen, we're going to have to talk.
I know, it's a lot of work.
Let's keep the conversation and tasting going.
Is this one of those shutdown taste kind of nights?
Yeah. For sure.
Cool. So what are the favorites, guys?
I'm going to start with the chef. What was his favorite? Well, no, actually, I'm going to start with you.
You tell the chef. You tell me what
he
you
made
think
the
is
dishes.
Yeah.
Well, I really did. For somebody who would never have put raw fish on a pizza, I was really impressed with the ahi. That was rocking.
It was
Well, that's
phenomenal.
awesome. Because pre-production, you were going for the
You're not allowed to say that. This is live. You don't call me out.
You were tasting it, and that's awesome because that actually, you tasted it and it changed your flavor profile.
Yeah.
So that's.
But the pork belly kind of was good.
I think kind of was good.
Yeah, kind of was good. I don't want to let it out the bag.
Yeah.
I'm torn. I don't know if I like the pork belly or if I like the Shenandoah better.
Oh, don't sit on the fence, mate. Come
No,
on.
it's just so.
Do you want to run for
You got to give us a
I was gonna say.
Make a decision.
No,
They're
I'm
going to
going.
make these pizzas based on your,
I'm going with the Shenandoah. I think
Shenandoah?
that was, for me, it's just that meat is just fantastic.
You know what? It's quite kind of funny because in the warm up to the show, we didn't get to try the pizzas, and so we just had the menu that we're looking at and the wines, and we all actually went the opposite because I'm definitely going that pork barbecue pizza. And that is the exact opposite of what we've all switched pizza in the actual live show where we've got to have them. There's something about the Zinfandel. There's this blackberry fruit which I've never seen before in the concentration. Usually I pick like raspberry, but not blackberry, and that with that barbecue sauce, it almost was like brown sugar caramelized. It melded the two together. I'm sorry, the barbecue pork for me.
Yeah. You know what? Before we never got Micah's opinion because he kept it close to home to not influence
he would
us.
never.
I guess.
Yeah, Michael,
So it's definitely
which one of your babies do you love the most?
So I don't know if you've noticed, but we had 3 pizzas sitting around for this show that I made right before we started, and 2 of them were smaller and one was much larger. The much larger one is the barbecue pulled pork belly pizza, and that is my favorite. You just can't go wrong with pork belly. Fat, acid, pizza dough is just lovely. It's absolutely fantastic. And then of course your Zinfandel to help me have another more piece and another sip really makes for a great afternoon, great evening, great morning, whatever you want to do.
Well, Micah,
our CEO loves a bit of zin and breakfast.
yeah. I'm coming. So we have a cameo. He did get a microphone. So for those of you who don't know, this is Bob Knievel. He's the president of Rombauer Vineyards, and his glass is empty.
I just rolled it. Well, no. I got to try a little bit of this.
Oh, he wants the barbarian.
There you go.
Yeah,
I just rolled
the secret project.
I just rolled to town. I hear
Think
you're
so?
pulling barrel samples and serving great pizzas with my friend Micah here. And with the barbecue pork pizza, I read about the ingredients of this, and I think we have a lot of Zinfandel fans on the screen with us tonight. And if you like it for brunch, like I do, Micah assures me that the ingredients on this pizza also go great over scrambled eggs. So just enjoy that. But the Barbera is what I really wanted to try. I will tell you, when I heard as little as we have of the 18 remaining, and because you guys have done such an amazing job tonight, there's a little less for our customers, because I bought a case myself that I can share with you.
I think my wife
Good. Now I know who to hit up when I can't find any for pizza night.
That's right.
So I want to say thank you for inviting me to do this. We don't actually serve pizza at Taste Restaurant, so this was really fun for me because I got to kind of go back to, I have a wood burning barbecue at my house, so I cook with live fire at home like as much as possible. So doing this was fantastic, and being able to come up with something different and something fun. I want to extend my thanks to you all for having us and doing this, because this is a little out of my wheelhouse. It's not something I do every day. But
Something's
it's so
out of
much
your
fun.
wheelhouse, mate.
Cheers.
It's pretty bloody good.
Gentlemen,
Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Let me let you close it up, guys.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So
Cheers,
if you guys
everyone.
want to get any of these recipes that Mike has come up with tonight, they are all available at rombauer.com. That kind of wraps up the show. I want to thank you all for joining us. We do these once a month. We'll be back again next month. But as we said, there's a little bit of Barbera left. There's complimentary 1-cent shipping on 6 bottles or more, so please get on and enjoy that. But next month we'll be back on April 15th. And for those of you that know, April 15th is our federal income tax day. We've lobbied really hard, we've used the power of the Bower, and we've got federal income tax day moved to May 17th. I'm not joking. So next month you'll be able to join us completely stress-free, not having to file your taxes for 32 more days. And with that show, we'll be featuring all of our sustainability efforts. So we'll be looking at what we do out in the vineyard in terms of bees, sheep, cover crops, water efficiency, and all of those things. So we will see you again next time. Thanks for joining us, guys.
Cheers.
Cheers.